And we are live. Hey there, everyone. Welcome to DevRunner. My name is Paul. I'm an endurance runner and an RRCA certified running coach. And this is another live stream episode of the Fitness Friends. I am very honored to be joined this evening by Kirsten QuickFit, Daniella Joy, and our special guest, Aaron from FitLabb. Tonight, with the new year very quickly approaching, I thought it would be a very good idea to do some talking about planning for success in fitness. Now, before we start into the big conversation, I just wanted to encourage everybody to join us in the chat, and we will answer your questions as soon as we can. And if you're watching this after the live stream is over, please drop some comments below, and we will be happy to get back to you after the fact. Now, with that said, before we start the actual conversation, I want to give everybody the opportunity to introduce themselves. So, Kirsten, please jump in and, talk about yourself a little bit.
Well, hey guys, I'm so happy to be here with Paul and Daniella and Aaron. I am up past my bedtime, so I'm glad to have made it. Drinking my citrus water to keep me going. I am a personal trainer, health coach, boot camp instructor. I have in-person clients, live boot camps, and I also Zoom my workouts. And I have a Fit Squad on YouTube who I love and adore. And so for me, fitness is all about community and supporting each other and having accountability to one another. And yeah, that's it. I love my workouts. I love a lot of energy, and I'm excited to be here. So that's it.
Cool. Thank you, Kirsten. Now, Daniella, take an opportunity to talk a little bit about yourself, please.
Sure. Hi, my name is Daniella Joy, and I am on a mission to just inspire people not to give up on their health, their journey, their life, what have you. I'm just all about just inspiring people, really. I'm on a journey to lose over 100 pounds, and I've almost made it to Wonderland. I'll probably make it to Wonderland very soon. I have to do a whole update for my channel, but yeah, that's what I'm about. Many of you guys know me, and it's great to have you guys here for sure.
Super cool. Thank you. Now, Aaron, please introduce everybody to yourself.
Sure. So first of all, thank you so much, guys, for having me on tonight. It's really an honor. I've gotten to know all three of you over the years, and we're all part of the same great community of really amazing people. So it's great to finally be on your show to, connect with everyone and be able to share some of what I want to do to help people. So a little bit about me. I've been a fitness professional for about 20 years more, I think, since either 2000 or 2001. I'm dating myself now a little. And I was a celebrity trainer for many of those years. I'm the founder of FitLabb, not just the YouTube channel, but also the online fitness and nutrition coaching platform, which I intentionally created basically to democratize access to high quality fitness and nutrition coaching services, because I realized that there's a lot more people who need this than just people who can afford to pay a celebrity trainer, right? Or like more expensive training programs without sacrificing quality. So that's what I do. I'm a big believer in knowledge is power, right? It allows us to really, overcome everything. It gives us the ability to never be scammed or duped by fitness scams and nutrition scams and whatever. But it's so important. I'm a bit of a perfectionist with everything I do, which I'm sure you guys have seen with some of my videos. But that's both those things combined is really why I enjoy producing the high quality educational videos that I do. Because I really want to help my viewers and subscribers be the best that they can, and with the best information that I can offer in kind of an entertaining way. So that's a little bit about me.
That's super cool. And let me just say that all three of the people that are sharing the screen with me right now are just absolutely, in my opinion, the best at what they do. And it's just an absolute honor to have you guys here.
Thanks, Paul.
Absolutely. You guys are the best. So let's get on subject now, because I know there are a lot of people. I can see a lot of people tuning in already because I think they are really looking forward to this conversation and the particular things we're going to be talking about here. So, Kirsten, I'm going to start with you, and I'm going to ask you, are you a fan of New Year's resolutions? Why or why not?
Well, I look at resolutions as goals, and I think goals are a great thing to have. For some people, New Year's resolutions work really great because it gives them an opportunity for a fresh slate, a new slate. So I'm never going to say it's a bad thing because some people really need that. They need a fresh start and they look forward to it and it's good. But then some people, I feel it's almost setting some people up for not success because you start something in January and then you do it for 2 weeks and then you fall off in February because it's the New Year's resolution thing. I don't know. My answer is mixed here. It depends on the person. Every single person is different. Every single person has something that will work for them and that won't work for them. So for me, my answer is it totally depends on the person.
Yeah.
Very interesting. How about you, Danielle? Are you a fan of New Year's resolutions?
I was really negative about them, but as what Kirsten says, I'm a big fan of goals. And through my life or through my work or just reading about habits, New Year's resolutions can be very powerful because us humans, we like to see things cyclical, right? And what better motivator than to start on the 1st of January of a new year and get it done? Like, it can happen if you're dedicated and focused. Like my friend Louise's journey, she lost 100 pounds in like 8 months and she started on New Year's of January 2020. So it can happen. But then there are the people who are stuck in the rut, the people who are like, oh, I'm just going to wait until after the holidays. And when January comes through, I'm just going to roll through. No, those people are going to fail because you got to start now. I was that person. So I'm just being straight up. You got to start now and got to make it happen. You got to be balanced with it and enjoy the holidays. You can still strive for your goals and, move forward and still enjoy Christmas. So.
Absolutely. Very cool. Aaron, I'm dying to get your perspective on New Year's resolutions here.
Yeah, no. So on one hand, look, New Year's resolutions, they always tend to have a positive intentionality to them. And people go into it saying, I'm going to improve my life this year. I'm going to make all these changes. And that's great. That's great. I'm not knocking that one bit. I think it's great if you have that intention and you have those great goals. But I'm not the biggest fan of New Year's resolutions for one main reason. I think it causes too many people to wait for some artificial start date it's just an arbitrary date. It's like, oh, I'm going to start on the 1st of next month. But what makes that date the date that's going to really make a change for you? The date has nothing to do with the changes you're going to make. You, at the end of the day, have to be ready to make that positive change. And if you're not actually mentally and physically ready for that, there's no change that's going to actually happen that's going to be lasting, sustainable, and real. So you have to really go through that work beforehand and just say, what's going to change in 2 weeks or in a month or 5 months from now. Nothing changes by the date. You have to really just work on yourself. And there's so many other things that go into this. But it all starts in yourself, right? What is your purpose? What do you hope to get out of this? And really just starting to make some small changes over a period of time. There doesn't have to be a single I started on this date. This is my start date. No, it just happens. It progresses over time and things compound. So that's really my own personal belief on New Year's resolutions and why I've kind of grown to not be the biggest fan of them. Mm-hmm. I don't fault people for doing that. Not at all. I still think it's great if you go into it the right way. But start today. Start today as long as you know why and you have a good reason and you have that intention and purpose behind you.
Exactly. I think you make a great point there, Aaron, and I think everybody made really good points here. But what I took from this is there's nothing magical about tomorrow. I think tomorrow is almost an excuse. I think if you want something, as Daniella said, do it now, because with change comes with being uncomfortable. And if you're not willing to be uncomfortable on December 8th, you're not going to want to be uncomfortable on January 1st. So
Nope.
just jump in. But with that said, folks, I've got a question just to dig a little deeper into this subject matter. What separates those who succeed in reaching their fitness goals, whether it's a New Year's resolution or if it's in the middle of June, from those people who just kind of let them fade away? Kirsten, I'd like to hear your perspective on
that. Because they're ready, because they know their why, and because they're ready to commit. And that's something that's really deep inside a person, because you can talk all you want and you can say, I'm going to start and I'm going to do this, but actions speak louder than words. And that deep commitment and that drive is deep inside. And it's a wanting to change, and it's wanting to change your life, and it's wanting to, for whatever your why is, you know your why, and you know you want to do it. So it's a very deep thing, and no one can influence that. I mean, I can talk till I'm blue in the face and be like, come on, let's go. We're going to do it.
And you're good at that, though. You are good at that in your videos.
But it's that deep down, I'm going to do it for me. I'm going to show up for me. I'm going to do it. So that's the game changer. And I'm fascinated. Aaron, I'm sure you are too, being a personal trainer, is finding out, unlocking that, what got you to that why. Like, tell me about that.
Yes.
Like, it's so behavioral. It's so mental. And that's why, like, I've loved talking to Misty, and Misty's here tonight. And because I love talking with her and just like finding out, like, she's had a huge transformation, 145 pounds lost. Tell me about it. Like, what got you there? Like, because you are like, everybody wants that. What's the difference? How have you been able to achieve that? That's the key right there.
Absolutely. Daniella, what do you think separates those who are successful with their fitness goals from those who let them go?
The people who are successful are the people who are just sick and tired of their own BS. Like, you come to a point where you're just like, all right, like, am I going to make this change or not? Like, I'm just sick and tired of being overweight, or I'm just sick and tired of not achieving my fitness goal. It's literally, they have to be so sick and tired of their own BS that they're going to make that change. And the people who don't make that change are not serious enough. Just like what Kirsten said, you got to be ready. And that change is inner work. No one's going to convince you to do it. And you have to be honest with yourself. You got to sit down and ask yourself. That's what I did with myself come September of this year, after getting into the car accident and dealing with my concussion. Like, literally, I sat down with myself. I'm like, are you going to continue to binge and put on all this weight? Or are you going to fight for how hard and all the weight you've lost? So it's literally about being honest with yourself and ready to commit. Because people who are struggling, they're not committing. And they got to figure out why. It's okay to struggle. There's nothing wrong with struggle. Like, I struggle a lot on this weight loss journey. Sometimes you got to struggle for a while before it clicks in. So that is the difference.
Very cool. Very cool. Aaron, what are your thoughts on this? Who is successful with their fitness goals, and as opposed to those who just kind of let them go?
It's a really, really important question. So, look, I've worked with hundreds of clients over the years, and, there really is a large disparity between who is successful and who is not. And there's a myriad of reasons why someone might be more successful or not as much as someone else, or complete opposite sides of the spectrum. I could start with some of my pro athlete clients. These are people who were incredibly driven. They had a goal in mind. They only became a pro athlete because, mostly NBA basketball players, because they had that fire in their belly. They had that drive, that motivation. They knew, and they just wanted to take things to the next level. So they were easy for me to work with from that perspective. Yeah. But there's a lot of other people that the know your why is, I think, one of the keys to success. And everyone's spoken about that so far. I know, speaking from my own self, my why, if you guys have seen some of my previous videos, actually I made a video about like this whole topic that we're talking about a year ago, but I talked about the why, and that was my why was I was bullied badly as a kid, and I almost didn't live through that experience. So I found, and another kid in my grade committed suicide because he was going through the same thing as me, about as severe as me too, and he couldn't deal with it anymore. And I was almost to that point myself. And I finally said, I have to change my life. I'm not going to turn out like this. And that was my initial why, which changed over the years in many different ways and all different times. But that was the impetus of my beginning of my journey. So I had a very powerful why. It doesn't mean that any other why that someone has, their purpose for doing it, is not equally as powerful. It's just different. But you have to find what are your motivators? What is the fire that gets you going, right? But beyond that, you also have to realize that signing up to work with, like, I've had clients who sign up to work with me, and it's almost like they thought just that act of paying me for the service was going to somehow magically get them in shape. No, you have to still do the work. I will give you the best coaching possible. I'll teach you everything I know. I'll make you an expert on yourself, as long as you're willing to receive the information and you're willing to execute it on your own. That I can't create for someone. That is the mental and emotional journey that someone has to go on. And generally, you have to kind of, if you're ready to do something, make a change, you have to be ready. You have to be committed to saying, all right, I've had enough. Just like what Daniella said, you have to kind of be fed up with whatever's going on and say, this ain't working for me. I'm ready to kind of take control of my life and change my life. And it's a lifestyle change. It has to be a lifestyle change. This is not a short-term Band-Aid or a fix. This is a lifestyle change, a sweeping one that starts small and grows over time. And the other thing I will say, and I'm sure we're going to talk more about this today, but also SMART goals.
You just beat me to the punch, sir.
I had a feeling you were going to go there. SMART goals. I'm all about those, right? Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic. I also sometimes call them relevant and timely. If you don't set goals like this, and a combination of, yes, you have a really good long-term or maybe multiple long-term goals, but you have to have also shorter, medium and shorter term goals. So that's the way that you're going to really track your progress, stay focused on the right things rather than getting lost in just this general vague long-term goal that, it seems too far, too big to kind of, conquer. These are all the various keys that you kind of have to keep in mind. So, hi.
Here's my daughter who's expecting. Devin, what are you doing on here?
I had to let that comment through. I figured that was the case.
He's talking about goals and stuff.
Hey, that's a big goal.
My grandchild.
Pre-congrats.
Pops up out of nowhere. I'm sorry, Aaron. I interrupted you.
I was done. I was done.
Like, what?
I'm good. Don't worry about it.
No, I think Aaron, I think you made a great point. I think,
yes.
I think everybody reaches a point where, and it's true of me too. My fitness journey started at like 42 years old, and I was like, my health was about to go really bad. And so I started walking, and I motivated myself to move away from the unhealthy lifestyle towards something that would let me live better than I was. But one thing I do want to add to this conversation on this question that I find interesting is that your motivations, your inspirations may at first be to become healthier. But one thing that I think keeps people going, and I know it's true in my case, is that once you realize that you are capable, that you actually can do this, that you can make the change and you can sustain it through discipline, I think your motivations change. You're no longer, after a certain point, once you're fairly healthy, you're not running from the bad stuff anymore, but you can see that you can achieve, that you can get better and better and better. And then you start
cruise control.
Exactly. You start to realize that just that consistency, just that discipline, you can continue to get better. And that, for me, that's my motivation every day for getting out there, is because I know I can still grow. I can still achieve more than I already have. So,
Paul, I just want to add something, because I realized what I said may make it sound like this is so hard to do also. And I think it's important to note that that getting in shape, starting a fitness journey, these are actually not hard things to do, right? It takes effort, it takes dedication and commitment, but is it really actually truly that hard to do? No, absolutely not. Okay. So I think everyone who is contemplating a fitness journey, starting out, thinks that this is this overwhelming thing. It's like this weight like hanging over their heads, and they have this they imagine that it's so difficult to do, and they defeat themselves a lot of the time before they even start, right? And so they keep kicking the can down the road and saying, I'll do it next week or tomorrow or January 1st, New Year's Day. But it's actually not that hard, especially if you start this out the right way. If you start small, making small changes, and that then compound each one a little bit more, build onto it, progressively overload them, right? And build onto them every day, every week. If you go for a 10-minute walk today, go for an 11-minute walk tomorrow, go for a 12-minute walk the day after that. Just keep compounding it. And then maybe, you don't want to go crazy weightlifting yet. I recommend everyone does that though, like not go crazy weightlifting, but introduce resistance training, but start small. Maybe only do a couple exercises. You don't want to get too sore. You don't want to like not be able to walk up and down stairs or sit on the toilet bowl the next day. Okay. So, you want to start small and work your way up, because it doesn't have to be that hard. And if you follow the right progressions and do this the right way, it won't feel that hard until you really start to challenge yourself, but you'll be ready for it by that time.
Exactly. So with that, I think this is a great time to ask this question. For everybody who's watching this wants to be successful. So what kind of goals should everyone be setting? And Aaron, I know you alluded to this. You even spelt it out actually a little bit earlier, with SMART goals. So, and specifically SMART goals, everyone, just to reiterate, we're talking about setting goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and for me, the most important one is timely. It should have a date attached to it. Yes. Not something that you can just keep pushing off into the distant future, but set a date, set a goal, something that's going to happen on a particular day, and you've got to be ready. So guys, Kirsten, let's start with you again. What kind of goals should people be setting, and what do SMART goals mean to you?
Well, I think it's really important for people to have short-term and long-term goals. And with SMART goals, SMART is smart. I mean, let's just be honest. To have an esoteric goal like, I want to walk more, in 2023. Well, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean every single day? Like, let's make daily goals. Let's plan. Let's make an appointment with yourself. Like, how are you going to achieve this? Like, the more specific you can be, the more successful you will be. Let's make weekly goals. Let's make monthly goals. Let's make a 3-month goal, a 6-month goal, and a year goal. Like, I'm all about making goals and also celebrating our successes. Mm-hmm. Losing 2 pounds, that's a huge win. I mean, let's be honest, losing an inch, losing a size, that's huge. And instead of rewarding yourself the way you used to, maybe with like a dessert or whatever, let's buy a piece of fitness equipment, or let's buy a tank top or a new piece of like workout stuff. Yeah. So it's like rethinking like how we used to think, and we're new now. We're doing something different now. We're on a new journey. We're going to change the way we are looking at things. So I like to be super specific as far as having short-term and long-term goals. And the more specific you can be, and SMART with all those, words, measurable, achievable, all of that, the more you can do that. Misty, you're good at goal setting.
Misty's awesome, by the way. I love Misty. And I'm so impressed with her. She's done amazing.
She's amazing.
Yeah. She doesn't give herself enough credit there. She's great.
Does not. No, she does not.
We love you, Misty.
Yeah,
we love you. We all love you. We're all in awe of you.
I watch Misty every week because she keeps me motivated, like constantly.
Life
Daniella, let me throw this question at you. What kind of goals should people be setting in order to be successful? What do SMART goals mean to you?
Well, I just love how Kirsten talked about it, like layering the goals. meaning layering them with time. It's so important to visit the goals as frequently as possible. For me, SMART goals are goals that I can visually see on the daily. It is things like having a habit tracker. It is things like just setting small, attainable goals like, hey, I'm going to drink this much water today, or I am going to make sure I meditate today. It's just, for me, it's visually seeing it and putting it in a place where you are going to be constantly reminded of those goals. Because it's easier to set goals, write it down in your notebook or write it down on your phone, close it, and that's that. No, you need to be bombarded with it, and you need to be reminding yourself about it every day. And that's why I love my little monthly reset things I do on my channel. I started that in September, and it's really helped me lose literally almost 30 pounds in like 3 months. It's literally helped me so much, just walking by it every day. Another great place to put your goals is on the fridge, places that you often frequent, and just make sure they're small, attainable, and timely is the key one. I have not done timely, but I'm thinking of doing something timely very soon. But yeah, sticking a date to it, oh, so powerful. So powerful. What a motivator right there, as you said earlier, Paul.
Exactly. That's the big one for me. But yeah, I mean, they're all important, but that's what works for me. So that's why I shouted that out. But Aaron, I want you to go after what kind of goals should people be setting in order to be successful, and talk more about SMART goals.
Sure. Well, one goal, as Daniella was talking about drinking more water, and I did. I almost like choked up here and died on the floor swallowing it the wrong way. So that's a goal of mine. Stop choking on my water. Sorry about that. But no, I think that both of you already said so much great stuff about this, and just, I guess, to to build on it a little bit, I think that one thing that I'd like to focus on with a lot of people is, hey, your goals have to be enjoyable, right? Yeah. You have to pick exercise modalities that you are enjoying. If you hate, going for, I mean, I don't know anyone that, well, let me start over. If you don't like a certain thing, if you absolutely dislike powerlifting, then don't powerlift. Do something else. If it's really difficult for you, and start small, but find what works for you that is going to help you ensure that you keep coming back and you keep showing up, because you're kind of getting into it. You like it. And I find most people end up enjoying resistance training because they start to see the results, and they kind of get hooked on it. It's like, you really get into it and you start to see all those positive results happening. And that could be true for running. It could be true for swimming. It could be true for any form of exercise, to be quite honest. But that's a big thing. So, and picking out, something that also, is a realistic goal. So for example, weight loss. I see so many people who maybe they just don't know enough. This is why I'm big on the education part. They don't know enough to realize that, all right, what is a reasonable amount of weight to lose within a certain period of time? What is a healthy weight loss rate? Okay. I go by the standard rule of, no more than like really a couple pounds per week. It should be about 1 to 2 pounds per week. And that's a healthy rate of weight loss. Yeah. Well, in the first couple of weeks, will someone lose more? Yes, it very frequently happens, water weight and whatever. But overall, if you look at the grand scheme of the whole thing, you should be losing 1 to 2 pounds per week. And this is why sometimes I get so frustrated when I see people talking about, I lost 100 pounds in 4 months. Like, that's dangerous stuff. That's dangerous content. That's dangerous advice. That's very unhealthy. And it unfortunately helps people set unrealistic goals that set them up for failure or set them up for health issues potentially, and other problems. So this is why it really is important for us as people who are in the fitness industry, as content creators, to really be putting forth the best information that helps people to set the right, appropriate, achievable, and realistic goals for themselves. So, and the timely part, as Daniella mentioned, I think timely, setting a timeline for when you want to achieve X, Y, or Z by, it's so important, because that's how you measure your success. And also, if someone's goal again is weight loss, some people don't like to, it's not always the most positive thing to worry just about the scale. I think measuring, looking at how you're looking and feeling in your clothes, taking actual body measurements at, once a month, give or take, taking, and just going by taking a progress photo once a month, and tracking that month to month to month. This is a positive practice that may even be better mentally and more sustainable from that standpoint than just going by the number on the scale, because that can fluctuate day to day by so much. So those are kind of some of my own little takes on SMART goals. But everyone said some great stuff already.
Absolutely. As a running coach, one of the things that I think is so important for successful goals is, as I said a little earlier, is to pick a date. And for runners, that's always like, pick a race. You know what I mean? Whatever distance works for you, which is easily achievable, or you think is a little bit, like over the horizon, something that you may just be able to get there. Always go for what you think is a little bit out of your reach, because that gives you something to get excited about, to achieve a new goal. And I think the other thing that lends itself, as a runner, once you have your goal, you set up a plan. You set up a daily, weekly, monthly plan to be able to get there, and that keeps you on track. So I think that's another important thing. Set yourself up to do some hard work for 3 or 4 months, and then go after that goal on that date. But also see, as you all said, look at the bigger picture as well. If you don't achieve your A goal during a particular race, or when you're trying to lift more and more, whatever the case may be, you may not quite get there. But if you're looking at the bigger picture, if you're looking at your health over the distance of time, like a couple of years, it's never a failure. You're still progressing, I guess is the point I'm trying to make. Yeah. You might have missed your goal by a minute or something silly. But when you think in terms of how that's going to set you up to succeed 6 months later or a year later, as long as you're building layer upon layer upon layer, you will be utterly amazed where you can get if you're setting like a stair step of goals that go out into the future. For me, those are hallmarks of a good fitness plan. So the next thing I want everybody to talk about is fitness planning. Like, Kirsten, as far as short-term and long-term goes, how does that work for you and for your clients?
It depends on the client, to be honest. It depends on, our goals. It depends on the client, what they like. And I just wanted to say, from what you said before, Paul, is that I think we all need to be kinder to one another, to ourselves. I think we have a tendency, a lot of people are really hard on themselves. And if they have a bad day, I'm a failure. No, let's be nicer to ourselves. You guys
I love that.
Are awesome. You're all awesome. And just because we have a bad day doesn't make it a bad month or a bad year. We're all human, and we need to be kind to one another and to ourselves, mostly, right? To ourselves. I know a lot of people who are hard on themselves, and that is not a positive thing for what they want to achieve. Positivity is good. Self-love is good. And kindness is good. It's never good to be negative. So, but Paul, getting back to your question, I would say it depends on the person. It depends on what works with them. I'm a very, and I'm sure you are too, Aaron. And Paul, you work with runners too, being a runner coach, is everyone's different. So I work differently with every single person, depending on what works for them. So just like with nutrition, different nutrition plans work differently for everyone. I think fitness works differently for everyone. Some people work great. Thanks, Christy. Christy's one of my girls. She is strong. This girl is strong. She is no joke. So what works for Christy is not going to work for one of my other people. So it really depends on the person. So I guess that would be my answer.
Gotcha. Daniella, so I want your perspective. What are the hallmarks of a good fitness plan?
I have to want to do it. I'm not a personal trainer. So when I'm looking, I'll just do it from the other side. When I'm looking for a fitness plan, will it hit my objectives? Like, for example, I want to become a better runner. Is the plan going to be good enough to get me there, to incrementally start there? I want to work on building some muscle and, strengthening parts of my body that need help because of chronic pain issues. Now I just look, is this plan going to work for me? Like, what's in it? What's the detail? Do I trust the trainer? Because it's very key. Like, do I know the trainer? Do I know that they're passionate about what they do? Like with you, Paul, you're my running coach. Like, I know you're freaking passionate. Like, I absolutely adore you. And I just love everything you do. You're so systematic. The systems, that's another thing. The systems. Are the systems in place that will set you up for success? Is it realistic? And like I said, first thing, do I really want to do it? So yeah, that's what I look for when I look for a personal trainer, and like, if all those things. So yeah.
Good point. Aaron, talk about the hallmarks of a good training plan.
Sure. So, I think that, there's two different ways to look at this. There's the way that someone is setting their own plan up for themselves, which is a little more challenging especially if you're a beginner and you don't really know where to start. You don't really have all the information you need. I mean, I think back to when I first started at 14 years old, and the only information I had to go on, this is embarrassing to say, but this was before we had the internet. Okay. At least my house. I didn't have the internet until I went to college. So I didn't have that information at my fingertips. I didn't have, a good place to get that information. So I had to rely on phys ed teachers and coaches, which I quickly found out didn't actually really know what they were doing. And they were given bad advice that I dislocated a shoulder doing shoulder presses because of them. I did some really dumb things that had I had better information at hand or better people tell me what to do, I wouldn't have had half the injuries or more that I accrued in those early years. I would have made much better progress even than I made. So here's the challenge. In this day and age, where we have the internet, we have social media, you could argue, well, it's easier to find the information, but the caveat is, where is the good information?
Yeah.
Who do we trust? Daniella touched on that too, right? Where do we find good information? That's, I think, the biggest challenge for beginners, and why it's so challenging for people starting out to get themselves on a good program. Because, so here's the big issue. You have every Joe Schmo out there, everyone on social media who wants to be a fitness influencer, who has no credentials, no qualifications, no experience, a real knowledge base, but they may look good on camera. They might have a great six-pack and a nice looking face, and they look great in a bathing suit, but they have no actual knowledge. But yet they're out there selling plans, selling diet programs, selling, trying to sell, diet pills and this and that and whatever. And they're, here, buy my training program. And they're showing themselves getting punched in the stomach as a great ab workout. Like, no, that's not. You're going to end up in a hospital. But so the problem is, those are the people that have the biggest followings because they do the most absurd stuff, and therefore they're rewarded on social media. The people who provide the best information are very often the people who have smaller followings, because they're not telling you the sexy information. They're not coming up with some new sexy program or exercise to try, right? That's the issue. So finding the right people to follow to get your information, your actual good quality and high integrity information, is the challenge for most beginners. That also lends itself to the next part of it, which is, if you're gonna, which I typically highly recommend beginners, especially even intermediate levels, at any level can really benefit from working with a professional. Right. But beginners, it's so vital, I think, right, to find someone to actually coach you in the beginning, to really teach you and help you, because everyone starts from a different starting point. Everyone starts from different place where, I have clients that come to me with a shoulder issue or a lower back issue, or they just are, someone's very overweight, someone has no strength whatsoever. all different places. And I think there's no template training program that can account for all these vast differences. There's no template program that will help you identify, oh, you have these foundational issues, right? Let's rectify, let's fix them, identify them, and fix these foundational things that you have going on that are good. If you just build onto them, you're only going to exacerbate those issues. You need to figure out what you need to fix, program that into your actual program, fix it. Could take a week, could take 4 weeks, but then you fix it. Now you're building your dream house, so to speak, on top of a rock solid foundation. You don't want to build your dream house on top of a crumbling, cracked foundation, right? You want to, because then it's going to collapse. The whole thing's going to fall. So that's really the point. So a good training program is going to take all those things into account. It's going to be adaptable. It's going to be malleable with you as you make progress, as you track and improve, as your goals may change over time. And it's going to take all those things into account. So that's really what I'm sorry for this long-winded, roundabout response.
But this is absolute gold, Aaron.
But I think that's really the key when trying to find the right person to work with, and someone who's not going to make you bad or wrong for making a mistake. We're all human. We all make mistakes. The important thing is learning from them so you don't repeat them, and so that you figure out a way around them in the future. So it's good to make mistakes. But that's really it. That's what I think that hopefully kind of summarizes my feelings on this.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Speaking for myself, when I first started running when I got past the point where it just hurt and it was just sort of something I made myself do, when it actually became fun, I very quickly became super duper passionate about running. And I spent, let's say 3 years learning everything the absolute hard way. like I learned not to do something by injuring myself by doing it. And this repeated itself over and over and over again for about 3 years, where I was just like a walking mess with tendons popped and ligaments dangling and everything going wrong that could go wrong. And I finally decided, it didn't occur to me to get a coach, but what I did do is I started reading the people who were recognized as the best in the business. I started reading Jack Daniels. I started reading Tim Noakes. I started going after Pete Fitzinger, and very quickly realized where my mistakes were. And I think even if you want to, coach yourself, put the time invest the time in doing the research, because it's just going to get you where you want to go. Get
that education.
Exactly. I mean, I feel like I'm fairly accomplished as a runner who started later in life myself. But when I think of where I could be right now, if I didn't have so much downtime from these ridiculous injuries that I put myself through. So with that, folks, I kind of used my answer to sort of steer us into where I want to go with the next question. So, Kirsten, I would like you to talk about why a fitness coach is such a valuable resource.
Well, I think, Aaron touched base on that, as knowledge is power. And if you don't know where to start, you need someone to help you. You need a professional, and again, Aaron mentioned the social influencers. They're everywhere, and yeah, they look good, but they may not know everything. They don't know what is right for you. They don't know what is healthy. They don't know what is good. They're trying to sell something. So hooking yourself up with a professional, and a professional that cares, a professional that can work with you, that wants to see you grow, that you have a trust and a rapport with. That's the most important thing. When you trust someone, and when you have a rapport with someone, you can achieve anything. You can achieve whatever goal you want. I think that is key. Knowledge is power, and trust is powerful when you trust the person that is your professional that you've chosen. Because, they're a dime a dozen, right? Aaron, Paul, Daniella, there's a million.
Oh, man.
There's a train in every corner.
You know what? The problem is there's so few good quality fitness professionals in the industry. and there's an endless ocean of nonsense out there and misinformation and people trying to hawk silly nonsense programs and products that no one needs. That's exactly right. I mean, by the way, not to sidetrack a little, but I'm sure everyone in this chat probably has heard, because everyone on the internet basically has heard about this the last few days, the whole thing with that guy Liver King.
Yeah.
Right? I knew on day one seeing him that the guy was on like 1 million steroids, and then he was claiming, oh no, I did it because I eat raw liver and I eat, like, oh my God, come on, man. Come on, man. And he's selling a whole bunch of products about it. So it's funny. I was actually, I never wish ill on anyone. I don't, but I was thrilled that the truth came out, because he was fooling so many people and making so many people probably get salmonella poisoning and all this other nonsense and throwing so much money away. The guy said he made $100 million this last year. I mean, I don't believe that, but the guy started August 15th of 2021, and he claimed he made $100 million this last year from zero. So I don't believe that number. But the point is, this is how the people who are spewing all the nonsense are getting rewarded for it. And it's our responsibility to provide the education so that people don't get taken advantage of like this and spend money on nonsense that is not actually real or based on reality. So yes, there's 1 million people out there like him. He just happened to get the most attention, but it's so true. It's so true. And that stuff drives me nuts. It drives me crazy because I care too much.
I'm right there with you.
Aaron, I was wondering your thoughts on that, because I was like seeing all about like the Liver King, and I'm like, oh, I'm sure Aaron has some good things.
I'm planning a piece of content. I'm actually filming. I was supposed to film it today. I'm filming something about it tomorrow. It's going to be a short, and it's going to be quick, but it's going to touch on it perfectly. And really, it's about the takeaway that everyone should be getting from this, kind of in line with what we're talking about right now, rather than just piling on, beating on the guy. No, it's going to be actually a productive video, maybe with a little humor, my own little funny humor that you guys have come to expect of me.
It brings to light, though, where we are. It brings to light, people want quick fixes. People, they're just, I'm hooked, right? Like, I want that. And that's really not how it is.
Yeah, it's not a shiny bauble that you can just grab and then keep going with it.
It's so true. There's no shortcuts in life that are ever worth taking. Okay. And that is especially true with fitness and nutrition. There's nothing that you can do if weight loss is your goal, or if building muscle is your goal, or whatever it may be. There is nothing that is going to expedite that process that is healthy, reasonable, or that doesn't have severe consequences associated with it. And I look at everything in life, but also especially with fitness, nutrition, and everything. I look at that with a risk to reward ratio, right? Or risk to benefit ratio, whatever you want to refer to it as. What are the benefits I'm going to get out of it? And what are the risks and our adverse effects? So I've never touched a drug in my life, never even smoked a cigarette. That's me. I want to live till I'm 100 and beyond and healthy and living my best life and able to throw a ball around with hopefully my great grandkids one day. That's my goal, right? And be, physically fit as much as I can be throughout my life. If I took steroids, if I took drugs, I would probably cut 20 years off my life right off the bat. And my quality of life years down the road would probably be pretty terrible.
Well, look at Ron Coleman, right?
Oh God, that's a perfect case in point. Look at he's in terrible situation now. The guy's had so many surgeries because of the extreme level he went to. It's sad, and he's actually a really nice guy, but it's terrible what he sacrificed to get there. And in weight loss, if someone tries to lose weight quickly and buys into one of these V-Shred programs or fat burner pills, my God, that guy needs to go away too. That stuff, like, none of that's going to help you. It's learning how to actually eat healthy in a sustainable way that you enjoy. You're taking a pill to lose weight is not effective. It's not going to do it. It's actually going to be bad for you in the long, short and long term. So this is something that I think everyone needs to get through their heads. There's no quick fixes. There's no product that you can buy that's like, oh, I'm gonna get this Ab Blaster 5000 or Booty Blaster 2000. It's gonna make me get a butt that I want for the rest of my life. No. Learn what to do. Just take the time to learn and get educated. Exactly. And that's it.
That's right.
Exactly.
Sorry, I went off again. I'm
No,
very
no.
passionate about the subject. If you haven't been able to
Stop
tell.
worrying about that. Stop worrying about that, Aaron. You're saying a lot of good stuff there. It's funny, guys, because like in the running space, it's like the same thing happens like on Instagram. You've got these people who just kind of show up out of nowhere, throw a lot of money at an ad campaign so that people realize who they are very quickly, and they start spewing anything that they think is going to get clicks. And it's funny because I used to be very tempted to be reactionary publicly and to be like, don't listen to that person, that's junk. And I thought, I'll never be able to keep up with the amount of garbage that's coming at me. So you just have to sit back and just kind of let it happen. I've watched a couple of other run coaches specifically where they actually jumped in and they tried to fight against that tide. And it got ugly fast. And
You know what the problem is? People want to believe something, so they buy into it, and it gets very dogmatic, and they get very one-sided in the way they think about it, and they pile into this belief. It almost becomes cult-like, and it's dangerous. That's why I tell everybody, find several different people to follow to get your advice from. Don't just follow one person, because that can get to be a dangerous situation where you buy into the wrong person or it's not right for them. You really should be following several different fitness or people this is true for anything in life. Yeah. But that's where you can now read between the lines. You know what's true, or you eventually can really learn to tell what's true, what's not, what seems too good to be true. Because if something sounds or looks too good to be true, I guarantee you it is. Right. Yeah. So that's an important step to the education process and really being able to see through all the BS out there.
Yeah. No, you made a great point there. Diversify your education. Don't listen to one person. Don't get trapped in the cult, right? It's just so important to. I always get my fitness information from multiple people, even if it's like unorthodox stuff. Because I want to be able to think for myself and make a critical, decision. And don't follow one person. I love that. I love that. Well said.
Exactly. If you hear something from more than one person, if you start to hear the same points being made from a cloud of people who are knowledgeable, then you can start to, of course, Daniella made a great point of always research it yourself, always be very discerning. Don't believe anything on its face. Yes. But if you start to hear something from credible professionals, multiple voices saying very similar things, it's a good indication that you're moving in the right direction. But Daniella, I just want to give you an opportunity to just jump in on that last question that I asked, the value of a fitness coach.
Oh, wow. Well, I've been learning recently the value of a fitness coach is unbelievable. Personally, I started my weight loss journey off on my own. I was doing body workouts and all that, which formerly called Beachbody, and then I kind of transformed to YouTube workouts, and now I'm working with you, I'm working with someone else. Coaching can be so valuable in so many ways, because the motivation to put you in line, to learn, to just help you, because we always need help. Even coaches need coaches at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Like bodybuilders or fitness trainers and whatnot. So I think everyone should have a coach, no matter where they're at, especially beginners, but even experts, depending on what they're doing. You know what I mean? So I'm learning the valuable lesson of having a coach. I've got you, Kirsten, too, and Fit Squad too. It's so valuable. And I wish I wasn't so hard-headed in the past. I was like, I want to do it myself. But no, getting a coach is crucial. And it's something I'm open to now.
Daniella, so many people I've heard say that I want to do it myself. And by the way, there's I'm not knocking that at all. There's value in that too. But that's great that you said that, because I hear so many people say this, and I'm like, look, I've been there myself. Yeah. It's there's no shame in asking for help or accepting help. Yeah. And there's no, and you know what? If anything, if you find someone really good at what they do and they really can help you, you can actually expedite the process. You can avoid so many injuries. And again, using my own self as an example, I wish I had someone to do that for me back in the day before I knew any of this stuff. And to your point also, Daniella, I think that, look, as much as I know, with 20 plus years of experience, almost 30 years of personal experience. Well, yeah, boy, almost 30 years. Crazy. I'm getting old. I honestly, I still love that I can learn something new every single day from someone else in the industry, even someone that might only be a fitness professional for 5 years. I don't care. I check my ego at the door, and I always have an open mind, and I'm always open to hearing another perspective that differs from mine. And hey, what can I learn from this person? Maybe I may not agree with them, but you know what? Maybe there's some good takeaway I can learn from that person, and that'll sharpen me in what I do even further, and that I can take something positive away from that, even the disagreement of ideals and methodologies. And there's something I can take away from that I then can implement in either my own personal work that I do for myself, or work with my clients in some way, like, hey, this could have benefit for certain populations or whatever. So it's all a constant growth, and we can all benefit from hiring a coach. A good coach is worth their weight in gold, and is really an investment in yourself. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think it's Aaron, it's a fast track to getting to where you want to go, and
safely.
Exactly. And Daniella, to speak to the point that you said, I want to do it myself. A lot of people, including me, have sort of inherently have that attitude towards life of I haven't really achieved it if I didn't think of everything myself and then do it. The point is, number one, a coach is going to fast track you to the right way, the safe way to do things. Number two, everybody, including coaches, we all have blind spots. No matter how well you think you know yourself, having a coach, having an outside perspective, somebody who can just look at what you're doing on a day-to-day basis and go, did you realize that you're doing this over and over and over again, and that's holding you back? And I've had that experience after years of trying to get things right in line, try to set things up for perfect success. And then somebody will come along, another coach that I talk to all the time will go, well, then why are you doing this? And I'll be like, well, I don't really have a good answer for that. I don't know. Thank you. So yeah, having an outside set of eyes, a well-educated outside set of eyes is so important. With that, guys, I'm going to cut to the final real question of the evening. Kirsten, you jump in on this one. What are your fitness goals for 2023?
Oh, okay. That's a good one. That's a good one. To maintain my schedule, I have started running again, which I love. So I want to increase my duration, and that's not a SMART goal. So my SMART goal would be to, I'm going to do my SMART goal right now. So I want to, in 3 months, be able to run 4 miles straight.
Nice.
Because right now I'm doing like a 1.5 miles straight. I walk, I run another mile, and then so I want to be able to do 4 miles straight in
That's great.
3 months. And I want to do a race. So, and I've talked to the boot campers about doing this. And Christy, if you're still on, you're going to do it with us. But sometime, I don't know, maybe in like 4 or 5 months, we're going to do a race, like a 5K.
That's so cool.
So, yeah, so that's a goal of mine. And that's pretty much it. Maintaining my schedule, because you guys know, the YouTube workouts and in-person workouts and stuff is taxing, but I love the running, and I was happy not to do it, but I'm happier doing it. So that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
Bring it. You are on.
Yeah.
You're doing it with us.
That's so cool. It looks like the QuickFit team is going to be doing some running in 2023.
Yes. Races. Paul, maybe you can come join us for the race.
I'm in. You just have to ask me once.
You'll have to lap us. You'll probably do it once and then meet up with us.
So super cool.
That's so funny, Kirsten.
Cool, Danielle. I want to bounce that same question off you. What are your fitness goals for I was about to say 1923. Wow.
Jeez, wow.
Let's move that forward 100 years to 2023.
Yeah.
Where are you going next year?
Just rush after World War I. My goals, I know I haven't looked that far ahead because I'm so focused on my small term goals. Like I have a goal before Christmas that I want to crush, but I will be looking at a bigger picture. But my main goal when I sit down and do this is to not be on a weight loss journey anymore because I'm done. I want to hit my goal weight and then I want to start building muscle and perhaps getting into bodybuilding. And when I say bodybuilding,
cool.
like wellness, or I'm not sure, probably wellness, because I don't want too much muscle because there's risk with that. You know, the bigger you get, those girls use PDs and I have no interest in doing that. I want to do this as natural as possible. Yeah. So yeah, hit my goal weight and put on a ton of muscle because the muscle is going to help keep that weight off and just help me as a woman with, you know, Kirsten, our bones get weak and all that. So just having that muscle is just key in hitting my goal weight. So yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. That sounds really exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron, I'm dying to hear where you want to go.
So interesting. So this past year was a bit of a rough year for me in my own physical fitness for myself. I had a couple of injuries over the summer that set me back. I had a few different sicknesses I had that set me back, and I had my business, my online coaching business got busier, and in combination of everything, I'm not complaining. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
But a combination of those other negatives, especially, it derailed me for periods of time that I was not able to work out the way I normally would. And the injuries were in different areas so it really took me out. For, I think at one point it was like a couple months, I was really barely able to do much exercise. And it was hard on me mentally, emotionally, but also physically. So, the hard thing I've been battling with this year as it relates to this was, look, I make fitness videos. I am a fitness professional. I don't like calling myself a fitness influencer. I really dislike that word intensely, but because of all the things that it means. But I feel that pressure myself that if I'm going to make a fitness video, like, you have to, unfortunately, with social media, you have to look the part or you don't get the views, or who's going to take you seriously. Now, I'm my own worst critic. I really am my own worst critic. I always have been. I've never had this issue really my whole life, except for one time around, I think it was in 2015. It was the only other time I really felt like I was out of shape, and I actually had to lose 30 pounds, and I did it. But I woke up one morning and I'm like, whoa, what happened to me? I didn't even realize it happened so quick. And I felt like it kind of happened again now this year. Now, most people would look at me and not say I'm out of shape. Yeah. But for me, again, I'm such a hard critic on myself, and I feel very out of shape for me. And so fitness influencing the ball. So I think for me, what my goals are right now, and I'm already in the beginning of it, which is doing a bit of a body recomposition where I want to shed some excess weight that I put on. I probably have about 15 pounds I want to really lose in terms of that weight, while I'm also going to slowly build up again. And it's not going to take me that long. I know I have a timeline I'm following. I've kind of mentally set for myself, but that's really what I want to do. And then I know I'm also going to be filming a lot more of that kind of content. That's going to be that I almost feel like I've been holding myself back from filming that stuff. So that I need to get back to where I feel comfortable, I feel happy, and I feel more able to. This is the first time I've said any of this, by the way. So, wow. But it's, I think it just shows that no matter what people think and what things look like from the outside, we all have our own personal little battles that we all face, and no one's perfect. As a matter of fact, we're all far from it. Yeah. So I'll get there. I'm going to do it. I know, because I always have and I always will. But it's crazy that I let it get to this point, and it was kind of out of my hands to some extent. But we all kind of come back. We just have to look at those as hurdles that we have to then overcome and bounce back from.
Exactly. And Aaron, if anybody has the personal inner strength to achieve, dude, you're at the top of the list. You're just, this is true of everybody on this screen. You guys represent the best And I, we're going to go around, and I want everybody to talk a little bit about where people can find you online and all that kind of thing. But the reason I'm so proud, and the reason I asked all of you to be here, for this group, this Fitness Friends group, is because you're the best. I think you all know what you're talking about very well in massive amounts of detail, but you also have amazing personalities, and you're just good people. So thank you.
Back at you, Paul, and all of you guys too.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Thank you.
Yeah.
So with that said, folks, just to say a little bit about my 2023 fitness goals. Mine are very specific about running. It's I'm going to PR in the marathon distance. When that is over, I am going to increase my ability to lift heavier weights for about 2 or 3 months before I then go after the faster stuff, because I know that strength is going to go a long way to becoming faster.
Oh yeah.
And I've learned the hard way that you can't get faster and stronger at the same time in gigantic amounts.
Yeah.
It's just too much. It's just too much for your body to take.
Yeah.
So once this I'm giving away secrets now, but yeah, the marathon is coming soon, folks. Professionally, DevRunner coaching is going to be launching imminently, and I hope to help a lot more people to running goals as well. Kirsten, let's start with you. Where can people find you online?
So I'm on YouTube, Kirsten QuickFit, and I'm on the same on Instagram and the same on Facebook. And on my Facebook, I also have a challenge page, which I do monthly challenges. And there's a lot of overlap with YouTube and the other social media platforms, whereas like you just meet up with friends and chat. And a lot of my YouTube, my Fit Squatters are doing, that sounded weird, Fit Squatters. Anyway, Fit Squad girls will come onto my Facebook challenge group and do my Facebook challenge. So I love that. So yeah. And Aaron, I wanted to say really quick, don't be too hard on yourself. I can tell you're really hard on yourself, and you should.
I tend to be.
I know, I can totally tell. You are absolutely amazing, and you will get, no one sees that extra weight except you, and you will get that off. Boom. Boom.
That's awesome. Daniela, where can people find you online?
You can find me on YouTube at Daniella Joy or Daniella Joy Fitness. That's my YouTube handle. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook as FitLabb. Do I want to promote TikTok? Not really, because I don't use it. TikTok drives me absolutely insane, but I have stuff on there on TikTok too. But yeah.
Very cool. Thank you. And Aaron, where can people find you online?
I'm FitLabb on YouTube, and that's with 2 B's at the end. Actually, the lab part stands for the first letter of all of our names in my family. My son, Liam, my name, Aaron, Bree, my wife, and Brody, my other son. So there is a real meaning behind that. That's meaningful, not just, a cool sounding name. So, because it's a family business, the way I look at it. So there's FitLabb on YouTube. There's the FitLabb, the _FitLabb on Instagram, because some obscure company took FitLabb and didn't do anything with it. So I'm trying to get that eventually. And then TikTok, I have the same thing, FitLabb on TikTok, although I'm going to get to doing something there eventually. And then, my website, which is fitlab.com. And that's where I do all my coaching from, and through the app that's associated with it. It's all online, and that's it. And I'm hoping to continue growing that platform as well as my YouTube one, which I'm going to be getting to filming a whole lot more stuff, and I'm trying to speed up my editing, because each video takes 100+ hours for me to make, and that can't keep going that way. Right? So I've got to speed it up. But yeah, looking for a great year of growth, just like you guys, and wishing all of you all the best in 2023 in every way.
That's awesome. Thank you, sir. And same to everybody who joined us in the chat tonight. Thank you. Everybody who's watching afterwards, thank you for tuning in. I did not link to every single online outlet for these 3 fine people, but you can get to their YouTube channels directly in the show notes below, and then you can take it from there. folks, we've been at this for just about an hour and 10 minutes, so I'm going to call it here. Again, thank you, everyone. Happy holidays. Happy New Year if I don't see you again or talk to you all before then. Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Night, night.